up, everybody? Welcome to Coffee Hour. My name is Paul Abernathy, your host. Wonderful to have you here. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join me to get your motor started, get you some fresh coffee in you, or whatever your morning beverage is. Hey, maybe you're working the night shift and you're coming off and you're like, dude, coffee's not going to work. Whatever, you do you, boo. And thanks for joining us. And again, taking time out of your day to be here to get your day started. Hopefully it gets you motivated. We are at Tuesday, so we're on the climb again. Tomorrow's hump day, and we are day 2 into our optional method calculation. So hopefully you joined us yesterday, Monday, the 17th, which was Patty's Day, St. Patty's Day. Hopefully you joined us and we went over the 12 unit complex, pretty detailed, covering all of the little aspects that you need to understand. And we kind of talked about the little pieces that we would drop in there if things weren't defined. And so it kind of helps you understand how to do it. Go back and watch that if you did not. And today we're going to get into the same calculation. We're going to get into a bit of redundancy in case you have any questions that we went over yesterday that you generated. Maybe you've done some homework and done some calculations. And you saw how it was different from the standard method versus the optional method. And we saw how it was a difference between 1,000 amp rated service versus an 800. That's a huge cost savings difference just using the optional. And it was a whole difference in size between 400 kc mil, 3 sets, and 300 kc mil. So that makes a difference, okay? That's a whole savings of 300 kc mil across the spectrum of doing the parallel sets for that, right? So we covered all that. Now, today what we're going to be doing is looking at that again because I'm a big believer in redundancy. I'm a believer in hammering things home. It also gives you the opportunity to ask any additional questions about the calculation before we get into an individual unit and we close out the week, that type of thing when it comes to optional methods. All of these episodes will be available over on Fast Track's Tube. And today I am going to take a brief look at the 3 of our websites. Again, I have to pay the bills. So again, while I do these shows, we have to show the different offerings that people can get with our company. So bear with me for that piece of it when we get there. And as always, the show today is sponsored by The Hog. So if you want to go check out Trade Hog, check it out, tradehog.net. Also, tradehog.com will be coming soon, but it's not there yet. Pretty much going to be the same thing. And in Trade Hog, you also have what's called Office Hog. So those that have it can use Office Hog. Okay, so that's it. Now, as always on this show, it's up to you to present to us topics that you want us to talk about. And we can go in all different directions. We're here for the long haul. I enjoy doing this morning run. It allows me to get up and get everything flowing and get down here in the studio and get my day all set. I'm an early riser. I don't stay up late that often. I used to, but don't anymore. But I love getting up early and getting in the studio and working on some stuff. So that's in the space that we have here in Virginia was so much better than what we had in Texas. So blessed that we have this space to do this. So anyway. So, as always, I like to live vicariously through all of my students and all of our family members, all of our Fast Tracks family. And I do want to shout out something. I had somebody send me an email that said that they're getting spam emails about Fast Tracks and their texts and all that. And I want you to know it has nothing to do with us. It's FASTTRAK. Okay, that is a toll scam that's going around. You got to spell Fast Tracks properly. FASTTRAX. That would be us. And no, our emails aren't compromised and whatnot. So if you're getting something like that, that's your text message have been compromised by somebody else, but it ain't us. Okay. So, it's like it's a toll scam going around, but it ain't got nothing to do with us. So stop sending me those emails because it ain't got a thing to do with me. All right. So, okay. Anyway. Let's see it. If you're new to the show, do me a favor in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you're from, if you're a Fast Track student or not, if you're preparing for an electrical exam, if you're joining us just because you want to learn the code a little bit better. Share us a little bit about yourself. I love to read them. I don't care how much of the show it takes for me to read the good mornings and stuff, because that's what we're all about. That's what I'm here for. Trust me, I run over an hour all the time, so we'll be able to recover our training part of it. But I like to hear from you and give a shout out to you for joining me this morning. Always love to have you here. So if you're an existing follower, you've come to us, as always, you know the routine. Put your name in there, where you're from, let everybody know. Also, make sure you get in on a spin. We have a giveaway that is coming on March 31st. And as you can see, I have tons of names already here that we're going to transfer onto paper so that we can do the drawing out of the bucket. And you have multiple chances to get in on the drawing. Okay, so make sure you hit that hashtag win so you can get in on the spin. Okay. All right, well, let's go. Let's say hello to some friends this morning. Friends of the show here. Adam, look, it's got the swag. If you look at his little icon there, dude, he's got his swag. He's got the Trade Hog swag. He's got the Code Nerd swag. He's got all of the swag in there. Good morning, Adam. Thanks for your support, as always. And of course, Adam throws out there the hashtag win. That's what you have to do so that you can get in on the giveaways. Okay, so make sure you do that before you pop off somewhere. Okay. Good morning, Paul. Thanks for joining us, Paul. Down in Houston, always here. Paul is down in Houston, and he also has a business that does screen printing, I guess, and printing and engraving, I guess, all that type of good stuff down there as well. So thanks for joining us, Paul. Frank's in the house. Positive day, positive vibes. That's what it's all about, my friend. Get the day going. We're going to make some money. We're going to make people's lives different because that's what we do. Frank, again, showing us the hashtag win. Christopher's in the house. Christopher, thanks for joining us this morning. Glad to have you here. Hashtag win. David's in the house. Dave Bueno from New York City. Good morning, David. Getting an early start as well up there in New York City. I guess in New York City, 8 a.m., everything's already pretty much started. Right? It's a stock market maybe open yet. I don't know. I'm not into stocks. I don't understand them. I just know that I invested in a pot stock, believe it or not. I invested in a stock that I thought that they would legalize marijuana. Hey, don't be hating. And I thought, okay, this is a good stock. They were an investment company, and it tanked. So I don't have a good track record. Now I got a 401k, and I put it in growth and just leave it. But at the end of the day, I'm not that good at the stock stuff. I just don't trust it. Too volatile for me. I'd rather put my money in a savings account with a 4 or 5% yield and just leave it. That's what I like to do. Good morning, Erie. Thanks for joining us. Cray's in the house. Good morning. Glad to have you here. Got that win in there. Kendra, good morning. Kendra's got the win in there as well. Good morning. Rob is in the house watching us over on the tube. Good morning. Glad to have you here. Alex is in the house. Got us over there watching us over on YouTube. I don't know. Somebody said yesterday what it was, that the YouTube delay is about the same as Fast Track's tube. That was encouraging because I thought that it was a bigger delay, but it seems like they're in sync, so that works. Terrence, good morning. I'm up there in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, contractor up that way. Rob's in the house. Good morning, Rob. Glad to have you here. Edgar's in the house. Edgar, glad to have you here, Edgar. Thanks. Good morning. Code Strong, everybody. Code Strong. Mike's in the house. Mike, thanks for joining us. Glad to have you here this morning. Coffee hour. See who we got here. Grace-Filled Life is joining us in the morning for that coffee. Thank you. Glad to have you here. And what do we got here? We got Carissa. Good morning. Get more ladies in the chat and joining us. Ladies in the field. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. Frank's hollering at us from out in Los Angeles. It is early. It is early in Los Angeles, so that man is definitely not letting the East Coast get ahead of him. That's for sure. Tino, good morning. Glad to have you here. Robert, San Antonio, down Southern Texas joining us. And he also throws that win up in there. Hashtag win, wants to get in on the spin. Joseph from New Jersey, drilling on the calculations. Hammer them away. For those that are in the Fast Tracks program, Unit 8, 11, and 13 obviously are the primary units for calculations. But I tell people all the time, just because we give you calculations and we give you something to work out, don't be afraid to mix up the numbers, right? Change the numbers on your own and redo the calculation and just kind of mix it up. Add something, add an EVSE into it. Just use the numbers as a base in your program and feel free to add additional stuff to it and then just work it. And if you question whether you're right or not, drop me an email and let me know, and I will look it over. What's up, David? Good morning. Glad to have you here. Eric's in the house. Good morning, Eric. Glad to have you here. Beto, good morning. Glad to have you here. Got Dan's in the house. Dan Martins. Glad to have you here, Dan. Van Man is in the house. Van, glad to have you here. Jody Hunt, welcome. Currently driving, listening as you drive in Denver, out in Colorado. Glad to have you here. Hopefully you'll join us more for the show. Again, the topic's about whatever you all want it to be. And you know how to do that, right? All you have to do is go to Paul Abernathy. I should probably put something down here when I say that, right? I'll update that so it shows up. All you got to do is go to paulabernathy.com. That's our free portal for you to be able to send questions and topics for future shows. And it allows you to interact. It's a free portal that's actually sponsored by Wix. So it's just paulabernathy.com. All you got to do is remember my name, go there, and that's where you can ask all kinds of questions. And your questions may result in a podcast. Definitely will email you back. Sometimes it takes a little time due to the volume that I get, but we will get to you. And if I don't, just pester me. I will get to you. And again, we have Charles with the hashtag win, getting in on the spin. Glad to have you here. So, all right. So there's all our welcomes. Do me a favor, continue to let us know who you are, where you're from, and chat in there. And we're glad to have everybody here that joins us for this morning show. So hopefully you got your coffee. I am running low on the Java, so I'm going to make it through this show. Okay. All right, Paul says not to change the subject. No, that wouldn't be something you would do, would it? Would it? That wouldn't be something you would do, would it, Paul? All right. What is this here? It says not to change the subject. I found a piece of CME wire 4-aught mills made in 2020 that a lineman dropped when changing some pole lines, and I cannot bend it. Yeah. Okay. No, can't comment on CME. Okay, because y'all know that ain't me. All right. But you can't. You got some 4-aught, and you can't bend it. It's 60 mils. That's interesting. Let me see again. So that's LPDE, low density polyethylene. So that does sound like that is something that would be used outside of the scope of the NEC. So again, probably need more markings on it, but that seems like that is very ruggedized. Okay, probably not our normal building wire, that type of thing. All right. Okay, let's get into today's lesson. So what we're going to do is, remember what I said. So in today's lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to reiterate the things that we talked about, hammer these things home so that at this point, after today's show and yesterday's show, when it comes to multifamily dwellings, when you have 3 or more and you're using 220.84, you guys and gals are going to be literally experts on this. And the only thing that you have to remember differently is if you have something that get introduced, another load, is all you got to do is find where it drops in here. And so like we said previously, when we're doing house calculations, if you have a multifamily and we have some house loads, maybe house panels, you're going to use part 3 for that. And you're just going to add that to the totals that you get using the optional method. Okay, so it's not brain surgery. So we don't want to overcomplicate it in those type of scenarios, right? So keep it simple, okay? What's up, Richard? Glad to have you here. Member of the Fast Tracks program. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you in the program, my friend. All right, so let's go on and get into this lesson today. And I have no expectation for our code to work and all the other stuff, because as we've come to expect, it sometimes doesn't. So at least as long as you can see it, we'll muddle through it until we get a new system update here, which is coming hopefully in a couple months. All right. So here we go. We're going to do Unit 11. This is in our Fast Tracks program. We're highlighting out the important features. Today, the only difference from yesterday is we were doing a 6-unit complex. And again, it's just the numbers change. So if you did your homework, then you would have already calculated this out, okay? And this is bugging me. This is bugging me back here. Gotta get rid of that. That was bugging the crap out of me, okay? All right, and so, okay, here we go. And it's still bugging the crap out of me. There. I don't know why that was like that. Okay, so let's go on. Let's go on and get to the lesson. Okay, so if you remember the numbers, okay, and we got old trusty Casio. If you remember the numbers that we gave out yesterday, and it's, again, this would be hard to see. I zoomed in on it yesterday, just so we can zoom in on it a little bit today. This is what we're dealing with. This did not change, okay? It's still a 30 by 35 outside dimensions of the building. It still has 2 laundry circuits, still has, 2 small appliances, 1 laundry. The appliances did not change. Nothing changed here, okay? Heat, the water heater is still 4.5 kW. Dishwasher is still 10 amps at 120 volts. And of course, y'all know to get the VA value, it's 10 times the 120. By now, we should know that. The clothes dryer is 5,000, and we're doing the optional method, so we take purely the nameplate, okay? The range is 12 kW. Again, we're not using the standard method. We're not using 220.55. That was on the standard. We're doing optional today, just like we did yesterday. So we're taking the nameplate, the amount that's given to us. And of course, remember, anything that is kW is also equivalent to kVA. Okay, anything that would be watts would be equivalent to VA, volt amperes. Okay. Okay. Just wanted to get that straight. All right. So here we are, back to it. So again, we use the outside dimensions as we've studied before. And if you're not familiar with that, 220.84C1 is giving us all of the rules that we need to have to make sure that we know how to do the optional method. So in 220.84C1, and we can go and look at that, whether it works or not. We'll see. It doesn't look like it's going to work for us, so we'll see if we can make it work. Okay, it may be working now. I found a trick to get it to work. So there we go. So we're doing this calculation right here. So this is the first thing we did was 3 VA per square foot. Okay, all right. So it's 3 VA per square foot, as it says right here. So we have the outside dimensions are what we're going to utilize. Okay, so if we come back to, and we see here, since we're here, we also see where the 1500 VA for the 20 ampere small appliance branch circuit, and for each 20 amp small appliance branch circuit. And we also see 1500 VA for each laundry circuit. Okay, all right, so that's where we're at. So let's go back here to the lesson. So that's what we're at right here. So there was our 3. Now, by the way, these are the forms that are in our Fast Tracks program. They're not available, although there are some you can find out on the internet. But the reason that we encourage students to use these forms is because it systematically walks you through the calculation. And the reason for that is to train your memory to understand the steps that you had to have to go through. So you get on an exam or you get out in the field, then you want to be able to say, okay, what's the first steps? Okay, I need to get my general lighting and get general use. And if I'm using the optional method, it's 3 VA per square foot. That stays consistent with the standard method. So the 3 VA, it stays consistent for dwellings. So 3 VA times whatever the square footage is, the outside dimensions. In this case, they're just single units with 1 floor, and they are 30 by 35. So 30 times 35, that's 1,050. And then, of course, there's 6 units, right? If this was a single unit for a single, unit, 1 unit, and you were trying to do the feeder, and we'll do that obviously tomorrow. But in this case, you just would drop off this right here. You just wouldn't have the need for the number of units because it's just 1 unit, right? So again, not making it brain surgery, keeping it simple. So it's 3 times 1,050 times 6 is 18,900. We don't ever trust our math. We want to that we see on the screen. We want to make sure we do it. And that is correct. So Mr. Cassio is absolutely correct. 18,900. That is number one. Also notice when you're using these forms, which also, guys, I recommend if you have our program and you're in our program, that you print these off and you laminate them. You can get a dry erase. It's great to have as a bookmark inside of your code book in order to keep it with you. If you need to pull it out and do a quick load calculation, that type of thing. So all of that. So it's nice and quick to be able to make little marks on it and do stuff like that. Okay. So it just makes it nice and easy to be able to do that. Okay. All right. So that is 3 times that. So that's 18. Next would be there's 1,500 and it's 2. And we see right here, it's 2 small appliance brand circuits. So it's 1,500 times 2. And again, there's 6 units. So we have to account for 6 units. So 1,500 times 2 times 6 is 18,000. Mr. Cassio is right on that one. And then, of course, there was one laundry. Keeping in mind that if you have more than one laundry or you have more than 2 small appliance brand circuits, you still have to account for those. It's not like you say, oh, 2 is all I have to account for. No, if you have more than 2 small appliance, then you would just put in whatever the number is that you have right here. Okay. Now, whether you're using these forms or not and you're just working these things out, it's still the same process. The form is not designed to, you don't take it in for an exam, you can't use it. It's just to teach you and get you familiar with how you do all the calculations. That's all it's there to do. Next, the laundry. And again, also it does provide the code references on here so that you can, while you're using the form, it makes you familiar with the different code references in case you want to drop back and read it and see exactly the verbiage. And I encourage you to do that. Go back and look. And when you're in the 2020 or the 2017, there's a different form because there are the rules of the code sections change a little bit. Got moved around a little bit. So again, they are updated depending on which code cycle you're in. All right, so this one, the laundry, 1,500 times there's 1, minimum of 1, but there's only 1 in our example here. Times 6 is 9,000. Okay, so we'll just do 1,500 times 6 is 9,000. So that's correct right there, right? All right, next. Next was all of those appliances that we had. And remember, all those appliances were purely the value that we were given, right? So right here, all of these appliances right here is purely the value that we're given. That's going to be the water heater, 4,500, the dishwasher at 12, the disposer at 900. And again, how we got these numbers, all you do is take the amps times the volts. That's going to give you VA. So that's how we got these numbers, okay? The clothes dryer, it told us it was 5,000. That's what we use, okay? If it was 6,000 for the clothes dryer, you put 6,000 here. Okay? If it was 4,500, you put 4,500 here because we're not doing the standard method. We're doing the optional method. And the optional says take the nameplate. The standard method says 5,000 or the nameplate, whichever is greater. We're just doing the optional. So we're taking nameplate right there. There's the range. In the standard method, that range would be 8,000. But since we're doing the optional method, we take the nameplate. So that's why it's 12. And then the microwave, again, is, if you look at the microwave, it is 10 amps times 120. That is 1,200. And of course, there's 6 units in this complex. So there, it's 7,200. I believe all this math is right, but we will check the math. 4,500 times 6 is 27. That's correct. 1,200 times 6 is 72, and this one is also 72, so those two are exactly right. 900 times 6 is 5,400. That's correct. And 5,000 times 6 is 30,000. So that's just pure nameplate values. The optional method, easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you had any other appliance that you had to add, this is where you would add it in the sheet. Okay, so if I had an EVSE, it's an appliance. If each one of these units had one, then I would pop it right here. Okay, and it would be the nameplate of whatever the EVSE is right there. Pop it in right there, and if there's 6 of them, there you go. If there was only 3 of them and they were supplied by, let's say, the house panel, for some reason, it was like a perk that was supplied by the owner of the complex, it would not go here. They would go in the house panel, which uses part 3 calculation. So you just would do it just like we did 2 weeks ago, just the standard calculation, okay? The optional method doesn't include house panel, okay? All right, so that's what we got there. So that's all of our numbers. And you notice all of these are solid. Okay, so they're all going to be added up into our numbers. And of course, you have some extra ones here, like I said, for any other loads that you might encounter in the real world if you want to use these forms. Okay, you have plenty of space. All right, so the next thing we're going to have to add all this stuff up in a minute, right? But let's go on and get to the heat versus AC real quick. So in the optional method, it is not like it was in the standard method where we take the heat versus AC, and if the AC had the largest motor load in the building, but it was a lesser of the 2 non-coincident loads, then we would take it at 125% and compare it to heat. We ain't got to go through any of that garbage, okay, when it comes to the optional method, okay? We just simply look and see which is larger, heat or AC. And when we think of this, we want everything that's incorporated in the heat, not just the strip alone. We want, if there's a blower that blows that heat around, we want to take that in consideration with the heat. So we're trying to find it in its totality, maybe that's a better word. We want to find out what the values and how they compare, okay? So in this case, the heat was 5,000, and then the air handler, which is going to blow that heat around, is 3 times 1,500, which is 345 VA. So you add the 5 plus the 345, that's going to be the cumulative of the heat. So that's the 5,345. If you compare that to the AC, which is 3 times 115, which is 345, 14 times 230 is 3,220, and 2 times 115 is 230. You add all those up, and that's going to be less than the 5,345. So we're choosing what? We're going to choose the heat. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how you do the comparison. Now, if you want to know how a heat pump works into this, I encourage you to go back and watch what we did in the single family dwelling calculation so that you can see how we addressed heat pumps. And if you look at the optional method, and I'll go over to it, I'm sure it won't show up. If you come over here, and you look at here, it just says right here, okay, we're just doing the calculation under 220.84. It just says the larger of the heating loads or the fixed electric spacing, whichever is larger. So it doesn't have to be complicated. At this point, you're just looking at take all of the AC, right? And then take all of the heat, okay? And compare it, okay? That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't even try to overcomplicate it. What's up, David? Thanks for joining us. Angel, I see you in there. Thanks for joining us. So in this case, that's just 1 unit, and we have 6 units. So it's 5345. That's the heat and the air handler. That's the larger of the heat versus AC. And it is 5345 times 6. It is 32,070. Mr. Casio is absolutely correct. So that value is correct. Okay, so this is our total right here, okay? So we want to make sure this number is accurate. So let's go back and just add everything up together. 18,900 plus 18,000 plus 9,000, okay? Plus 27,000 plus 7,200 plus 5,400 plus 30,000 plus 72,000, oops, messed up on that one, okay, plus 7,200, plus the 3,270, okay, and that equals 26,770, okay, so we got our numbers there. All right, so now that is our total VA, okay, that is our demand. That's after we have done add all of this stuff at its full value, okay? Now we're going to apply a percentage. Now, the easy thing about the optional method to start out with, and we'll look and see how it differs. And also in an upcoming episode, we're going to be going over existing dwellings, okay? So we'll show you how you use the optional methods and some of the allowances in here to be able to see what the headroom is on an existing dwelling. So you definitely want to make sure you subscribe to our channel, because I am not going to tell you ahead of time when we do that. It's just like, you got to be here. We're going to talk about how to do that as well. So in this case, we're at 44%. Now, where do we get this from? So we took the whole load right here, and we have 44%. Well, we get the 44% from the table, which is right here. Okay, so here's our table, okay? Table 220.84 for the optional method. And again, this is for 3 or more. We've got 6, so we have 3 or more. And so we're down here in 6 to 7. There's our multiplier, 44%. Now remember, does not include house loads. Anything you might have in a multifamily dwelling that has a house loads, like maybe the corridors, because it's an enclosed multifamily. If it has corridors, it has on-site facilities, all that would be under the house load. And that would be calculated in what? Part 3. That means kind of what we call the standard, or the traditional method of doing the load calc, not the optional, totally separate. And you're going to add it to this total, but it's still done separately. And I think a lot of people get that confused. It's a stacking effect, okay? You just have to use part 3 to do the house loads, okay? So don't confuse it with what we're doing, okay? All right, so that is what we're doing here, all this. Also, I should remind you, since we're here, you have other motors that are maybe in the dwelling or maybe in the unit that doesn't fall nicely under item 3. Well, this is where you would add those right here, okay, under 4. Okay. Or any other specific circuit to some other appliance, like an EVSE is considered an appliance, then that would be covered under item 3. Okay, you have a nice little catch-all right here. Okay, if you read it, it says all appliances that are fastened in place, permanently connected, or located to be on a specific circuit. Okay, that's going to be catching it down there. Now, appliances are things that are made in utilization equipment that's made in standardized sizes. EVSEs, whether you like to believe that or not, qualify as an appliance, okay, in that scenario. Now, when it comes to the standard method, you see when we're talking about appliances in the 2023 code, it excludes EVSE from that list where you can apply the 75%. That doesn't mean it's not an appliance. It just means that it's specifically excluded from that list. And that's why they did that, is to remind you that, yeah, they know it's an appliance. We just don't want it added to this list when you're doing the standard method under 220.53, right? That's the reason they say that. They make it very clear, but it is most certainly qualifying as an appliance. Okay? A lot of people get confused with that, but we've set that record straight. You can like it or not. All right. Okay, so let's get back to the lesson. Okay. So we see where we get the 44% at. So we're going to take this, and I'm not going to trust the math. And we're going to do this times 0.44. And it is 99, hold on here. 226,770 times 0.44. Okay. 97,000, that doesn't, for some reason that doesn't look right. Hold on. Let me get my trusty. I'm not trusting the Casio. For some reason, it's giving me some messed up numbers that don't make sense. So hold on here. We're going to do it here. So 226,700 times 44% is 99,778.8. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So we're going to say, well, I guess it was right. I'm sorry. There you go. It was right. Casio was right. I was being all nasty to Casio, and I shouldn't have been. All right, so it's 99,779. We're rounding 0.8, okay, because what does it say we can do in 220.5? We're rounding up. So there we go. At this point, we could wait to the end and do it in the amps, or this is volt amps. We could do it right here. Typically, I wait until the end, but we're okay. We can round it here. It's going to ultimately work out the same way anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So that's our number. Now, you notice that on our form that this one now is hashed. That's because this is going to be part of an overall calculation, okay? So you see it's going to be used in another part of the calculation. So that's kind of just reminding you that it is going to be used somewhere else. So that's why it's sending you a reminder. All right, so then we take this number on our form and transfer it down here. okay? And we put it right here, okay? Now, the one thing about the optional method is that we get away from all of this other stuff about looking for the largest motor, that 125%. We get away from all this. So this is why, obviously, in the field, you're going to use the optional method. There's no doubt about it. Although if an educator tells you that you never need to learn the standard method, they are full of poop, and don't listen to them. And I hate to say that about fellow educators, but if they say that, they're full of poop. You need to learn how to do the standard method because, one, you got to size a neutral using the standard method because 220.61 is found under Part 3. It's not found under Part 4. And we're doing an optional method in Part 4. So if the neutral is under Part 3, then what happens is Part 4 gives us permission to use Part 3 for sizing that neutral. So you have to know how to do it. Now, could you size the neutral conductor full-sized with the ungrounded conductor? Sure, but you're making a conductor larger than it needs. Now, I work for a wire and cable manufacturer, so if you want to just arbitrarily put larger conductors where you don't need to, go for it, okay? We're okay with that, you know? Hell, you want to increase everything and buy more cable and wire? Hey, I'm all for that, okay? But in reality, on an exam, you want the best possible answer, okay? That's what we're searching for. Okay, so that 99,779, we're going to divide that by 240. That's our system voltage. Also, somebody asked, will we be working on a three-phase example of this? Yes, in the future, we will be doing it when we shift more towards that type of commercial stuff. We will be doing that. And in that episode, when I get into my three-phase mode, we're going to be talking about how to do calculations on three-phase services. We're going to be talking about three-phase where we have a three-phase building that derives ranges or dryers, a three-wire that's derived from a four-wire three-phase. We're going to show you how to do that in a multifamily. We're going to show you how to do branch circuits that would be truly three-phase because I get a lot of questions. I had somebody email me something about water heaters. They said they watched one of my videos on a water heater sizing, and they said, well, can you do an example with 208 volts? And I remind them that most of the time in these water heaters, if it's 208s, it's still single phase. So you wouldn't do anything different than you would do with the 240. The only thing, the only thing you have to be careful about is the actual water heater. And we're just using nameplate values from the water heater. So it's an assumption that that's a 208 volt rated water heater, okay? But it's not until when you're three-phase, then you got to worry about the 1.732 factor if it's truly three-phase to that water heater. If it's not, it's usually going to be single phase, whether it's a 208 single phase or 240 single phase. So I think they were overcomplicating it, that type of thing. If you have a three-phase water heater that's going to get three phases, then you have to take into consideration the 1.732, which is a square root of 3 in your calculation. Don't worry, we're going to cover all that when we get into three-phase calculations and services with three-phase. That's upcoming episodes. That's why it's so important for you to subscribe to Fast Tracks Tube, subscribe to our channels, because you never know here on YouTube, you never know when we're going to talk about those topics. Okay. All right. So what do we got here? So 99,779 divided by 240 is 416. I'm not going to trust that. I'm going to do it. That's exactly right. It's 415.74. So like you said, whether we rounded then or up or now, it doesn't matter because it all works out the same. So 415.74 is going to round to 416. And somebody says, well, Paul, it may not. So if I did not round, okay, if I kept this at 99,778, let's say, what was it? 999. What was it before? Hold on. What was it before? Just so I can show you that it really didn't matter when you did this. Okay. It's 226.77. This times 44%. And so that was 99,778.8. So just so you know that if it was 99,778.8 divided by 240, okay, it wouldn't make a difference. You're still going to be rounding it up, okay? Whether I rounded it up here or rounded it up here, it just doesn't matter. So 416, okay? Now, You and I both know that there is no overcurrent protected device that's going to be rated 416 amps. It is not over 800 amps. This is not part of a branch circuit. So all the rules that are in 240.4b allows us to say, you know what? Hey, it's not over 800 amps. Okay? It's not supplying a branch circuit. Okay, doesn't correspond with the standard overcurrent device because you know there's not one rated 416. Okay. And as long as I'm not going over 800 amps, I can go to the next standard size. Now, my conductors have to be able to handle 416 amps because that's our calculated load. That's what we came up with. That's our load calc. But I can have it protected by the next standard size. And the next standard size over 416 is 450 amperes. Now, remember, and y'all remember what we talked about before is if we happen to be over 800 amps, then we have to size our conductors based on the overcurrent device, okay, equal to or greater. But if you're under it, then we can use the next size up allowance, okay? All right, so back here, 450 is what our overcurrent device is going to be. Now, conductor sizing, in this scenario right here, we're doing multi-units, so we know that 310.12 is not going to apply to this scenario, okay? So we're able to say, okay, if this one, we're going to be able to use this because we are definitely over 400 amps anyway. So we know that that's going to put 310.12 out of the realm of use anyway, regardless. So we need to have it. Now, we want to see practical sizing. Now, could we find a conductor that's good for 416 amps in the code? Yeah, sure we could. Let's go to the NEC. And let's just go to ampacities. Now, we're again, there's many options here for you in sizing. Again, your company's going to dictate it. We always go to the best logical, and I always try to keep our conductors under 500 kc mil. That's the logical approach to how you handle conductors and the bending, and it just makes it a nightmare when you start getting over 500 kc mils. Even then, it pushes it. So here's the ampacities right here. So let's see here. So if I would do a single conductor, it'd be 416 amps. We go down here, and that would be, it would have to be a 600. Okay, keeping to my golden rule, I like to keep it below that. In real world, if you want to run a 600 and you want to do that and you want to size a raceway, you do you, boo, if that's what you want to do. Okay, if that's what you want to do, then you go for it. But typically, we're going to go to the best option is to try to keep things under 500 kc mil. So I'm going to go and see if there's a better result if I parallel it. Okay, don't be afraid of paralleling. So I'm going to take that 416. I'm going to divide that by 2. So I'm going to have 2 that are good for. So that's 416 was our calculated load, right? So I'm going to divide that by 2, and that is 208 amps. So if I have 208 amps, now I come over here, and it looks like that I would need 4-aught. That's 230, so 200 is not going to work for me. So I need 230. And that is a 4-aught. Okay, so 4-aught copper, way more manageable than a 600 kc mil. Yeah, you might say, yeah, Paul, you got to put multiple raceways. There's time in putting raceways in, yada, yada, yada. Hey, to each your own. All we're doing is showing you ways to do it in our program. At the end of the day, you're going to be the one that has to make that choice. And on an exam, they're going to give you options, and you're going to choose the best possible option. Okay. All right, so, and I can't tell you what's on the exam. I don't know what's on your exam. That's why we prepare you on how to do the calculation. But very few exams are going to give you a full load calculation like this. Very few. And if they do, it's pretty straightforward in how they want it answered, okay? So in this case, our answer would be 4-aught copper. And we're always going to assume copper unless stated otherwise. So we're always going to go with that. So there's our 4-aught copper, and its equivalent is 300 kc mil aluminum. Okay, there you go. And it's 2 parallel sets because I don't want to run a large raceway with 600s in there and then try to do that. Don't want to do it. Okay. All right. So the next part would be how to size that neutral. Okay. So you note that there is no optional method for calculating the neutral. Okay. No optional method for that. So we size that neutral exactly the same as we did for the standard method, okay? And I will just go back to show you what we did for that is right here. Same concept. This is the same unit. Notice that this method right here is basically we took the full general lighting and general use loads at 3480. Okay, just to show you, that's what we took for that. Okay, when we did the standard method, let me go back so I can kind of just throw the standard method out for you, just so you can see. Oh, hold on here. Let's go. That's the feeder. Let me get back. Oops. Hold on here. I gotta go back to the six unit complex. Hold on. I gotta go back. I'm trying to find where it is here. I can't remember where my example was. That's a 6 unit. Oh, I'll get it. Okay, sorry. So it's the total amount of general use and general lighting, everything for the 6 units. And anyway, we came up with the, what was it? 1 aught under the neutral calculation right there. And the reason for this one, by the way, the reason for that under the standard method, the reason we came up with that was because all of those loads, the general lighting, general use, and all that kind of stuff, all of that was what? It was all loads that were 120 volt associated loads. Okay, so that's all we're doing is using the standard method to come up with the neutral sizing, no different than we did before. Nothing changed when it comes to the neutral. Trying to get back to where we were at. Okay, so nothing's changing. Everything's staying the same. The general lighting, all the information stays the same. And then, of course, you have your appliances. And remember, you're not utilizing the appliances that are what? 240 volts. Okay. So again, if you don't remember how we did the neutral, go back and watch how we did the neutral. It's no different. Here is the 6 unit. Exactly the same thing in how we did the neutral. Okay. The 30 by, we're doing the standard method. That's why you got to know the standard. Okay. So end up in a 1 aught for the neutral. Okay. And then, of course, the grounding electroconductor was 1 aught. And again, this was based on the size of the conductor. So this is 2 parallel sets of 4 aught. So you have to know what the circular mill is for 4 aught. Okay, so you're saying, okay, where do I go for that? Let's go to the NEC. And it's not working. So we'll bring it back. So real quick, let's go to 250.66. And I'm not going to go again all the way over that neutral calculation. If you just joined us and this is your first time, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. It's not fair to everybody. Go back and watch the episode where we did the neutral calculation, okay, in the standard method for the last week for the 6 unit complex, and you'll see how we did that. All right, so here is 250.66. And, well, first of all, we got to find what the circular mill is of that 4 aught. You might know what it is, 211,600, I believe, but we got to go find it. So you go to chapter 9, okay, table 8. Okay, that's what this table is. And we'll go down here and we'll look for this 4 aught, which is right here. And it's 211,600 circular mills. Right, now, we did it in parallel, right? So it's 211,600 times 2. That is 423,200. Then we come back to 250.66. And remember, we weren't given any type of electrodes. So we're not going to be using 250.66A for rod, pipe, or plate. We're not going to be using 250.66B for a UFR. We're just going straight to the table, because that's all, we weren't given any specific type of electrode. So we default at the table. So here we are at the table, and we'll come down here, and so it looks to me like the 423,200 circular mills falls between over 350, but through 600. So it's right there in that window. So that tells us it's going to be right here. So that tells us it's going to be a 1 aught copper or a 3 aught aluminum. Okay, so let's get back to the lesson. So yep, so there's your 1 aught copper, and there's your 3 aught aluminum right there. Okay. All right. So now your homework for tonight, and we're going to go to some giveaways, and I want to show you some stuff on the websites real quickly. But here's your homework for tonight. Again, write it down. This is your values, and we're now going to do an individual. Tomorrow, we're going to do the individual dwelling units using the optional method, okay? So now the difference in this one is that we're going to be using 220.82 because we're doing an individual unit. We're not doing 3 or more. We're doing the individual units. So now we have to shift to 220.82 for these individual units that does the optional method, okay? So a little bit different in how when you get to AC versus heat, and we'll talk a little bit about the different choices you have, and maybe talk about the heat pump and all this kind of stuff again, just so you understand how it works, that type of thing. But so that's your homework. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're going to go over the individual unit. So by the time, and it's going to be very quickly, as you can see, it's only 2 slides on it. So it's going to be very quick for us to do it. So I am going to elaborate into it a little deeper, okay? Now, real quickly, I want to show some folks some stuff here. Over here, if you're not familiar with our website, this is the little chat feature here on the left that pops up. You can close it by doing this right here, clicking this little X right here if this pops up. This is where you can ask us questions, like maybe what course to buy or whatnot. That's what this is for. This is not for asking technical questions, okay? Because this is monitored more by sales and things like that. So this is what this is for. This is not for you to come on and say, oh, great, I can ask Paul technical questions directly from the website. Like, no, you won't get an answer that way. So you can close that. Okay? If you want to reopen it, it's down at the bottom. You can reopen it. Here's where all of our courses are located. You just scroll down through them. Inspector courses. If you need continuing education credits, click here. If you need state law, so maybe you're in a state like Alabama and you're thinking, Paul, I'm taking your course, but I need to pass the state law portion. Well, then you would just click this, and that would take you here. And as you can see, we do have a collection of partnerships with various states where we can offer the law portion and whatnot if you're interested. It's not through us. This is extra, that type of thing. Also, if you're new to the program, there are some free programs, as you can see over here. We encourage you to try out the Electrical Exam Prep Primer or the Boxes and Enclosures free course. It kind of gets you an idea of how our courses work. So it kind of lets you have a little flavor of how that works. By the way, if you ever want to watch the show, then you can actually join us. I'll show you that one in a second. But here's where you log in. Once you purchase a course, this is where you log in, and this is where you register on our site. Everything requires a registration, even to do the free stuff. So that's where that is. And you can also get to all of our courses through this drop-down link as well. So they're all here as well. And then any future webinars that we're doing, you simply would click here on the webinar, and that will take you here, and it'll be posted here. So we do have one coming up in the next month or so. So this is where it will be posted, and this is where you can actually register. For everybody that wants to know where we get the mobile app for your phone that it is free, it's right here. You just click on the mobile app link, and it'll take you here. Scan this with your phone, or if you're on your phone, just click this link right here, and it'll ask you if you want to download it. We're not loading any bloatware. All it's doing is putting the app on your phone and putting a link to our web-based version. Okay, so that's all you do with that. And then we have tons of blogs. Click on blog, and you can get access to all of our blogs. We have some great blogs. Just click here if you want to expand it. And be sure to share them with other people. There is tons of blogs, AC versus GFCI versus AC, NEC compliance with snap switches and disconnects, all the transformer, overcurrent, and conductor protection, all kinds of goodies here for you, right? Understanding the 25-foot secondary rules. So many people don't know about these blogs. So make sure you check them out. We spend a lot of time doing these blogs. And do me a favor, share them. The link to them on your social media platforms. Feel free. There's no copyright issue. You can share them anywhere you want to share them. The next thing that that I'll tell you about is over here. This is what Fast Tracks Tube looks like. And you can actually see what it looks like right here. We're sharing. This is where you can watch the show. You see it's a slightly delayed. This is where you can watch the show over on Fast Tracks Tube. It's free. All you do is go to the top and click right here where it says live shows. Okay. Now we do have some free videos that you can watch as well, but mainly everything is paid. Here's where you go to sign up for your membership plan. You click on that right there. And when you get there, all you do is click on it. Oh, go down here to member plans, click on it. And if you already have an account, you can log in. If not, this is where you choose. When we say if you win one, when we spin the wheel, all you got to do is go right here and choose the free plan, fill out this information, and go on and check out. And that'll get you, and then we'll see it and we'll upgrade you. If you want to find the Coffee Hour series, and you remember, you just go right here, and you go down here and click on All Series. Click on that, and here you see the Coffee Hour right here. All you do is click on that, and you can get to all the episodes right here that we post on Coffee Hour. Right? You just scroll through them. You'll see the title. If I choose one of them, you'll see the title in it. Here it says, for example, Coffee Hour, Multifamily Calculations Part 1, and it gives the date and all that kind of stuff. And do me a favor, give us a good star rating. Here is where you can share it with other people. You want to share Fast Tracks Tube. This is the neatest platform to be able to do things on, because here you just choose your plan. If you want to watch the video, I choose that. And here's where you choose whether or not you want to do the annual subscription. And this is the free. And you won't get a whole lot of them for free, but you do have some videos you can watch for free. All right, so here, let's go over here to home real quick. And you have a choice to change the color. Here is the white background. If you go right here, you can change it to black, that background. And then I want to show you what the player looks like. Here's a free one right here. This is our CMECP. You click on it, and you see the player right here. Paul Abernathy here. Thanks for joining me today for this brief video talking about the CMECP program. Now, this little light bulb right here, quite a few years now. It's a certification program. All you do is designated for master electrician. Okay? So it is the neatest platform out there. There's a jump ahead 15. There's a fast forward, next video, all this kind of, and you can subscribe. You can give it a rating down here. I love it. So we'll give it a rating. Also, there is a search feature right here. So people ask us about the search feature. For example, I might put in here motors, right? And then hit enter. And it'll bring back here. Let's ask Paul on motors. And this has to deal with an episode, motors, that was with swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs. All this kind of stuff here is available on here. Also, you can listen to a lot of our podcasts, and you can listen to all of our podcasts here as well by just simply going down here and clicking right here on Master the NEC Podcast. If I click it, here you see a drop down, and all of our podcasts will be here, so you can listen here as well, directly from the website. And then we also have some exclusive podcasts that you can listen to as well. And those are here, and they have their own separate player. So a lot of those podcasts are here. You can enjoy those as well. For example, here's a video on understanding fixed multi-outlets right here, okay? So understand. So there's a lot of content. We're always adding more. So thanks for joining us there. And of course, lastly, Trade Hog. Trade Hog is one of our products. It's a subscription-based program. It is the expert in your pocket when you're out in the field, okay? Allows you to ask, and this is an example where this is the paid one. This is the basic program. Actually, this is the premium program, where it also gives you access to Office Hog. Office Hog is also exclusive to us, and that is where you can ask questions like your tax questions. You can ask accounting questions, HR questions, all those kind of good things all can be done there. So that's kind of a synopsis of the products that we offer. If you're looking for exam prep, or if you want to become better at the NEC, I recommend you look at Mastering the NEC course. That is a good after licensing program. Also, we also have residential and commercial and grounding and bonding courses. There are 1-year access courses that allow you to have a full year's access to really learn and deep dive into residential and commercial, that type of thing. Okay, let's do some giveaways. Y'all have held in here and endured my little sales pitch there for everybody. Again, we got to pay the bills, because if I don't, then I'm not here. Okay, got to pay the bills. Otherwise, I am not in business. Okay. All right, so hashtag win gets you in. I've got a list here. We're getting close to the drawing date. So for those that I ran off and left, you're out of luck. Scared you off. You're not going to win. Okay. You know, they say Paul's trying to sell products. How did Paul pay the bills if he doesn't? If you're interested in shirts like this, available on fasttracksystem.com. Okay. All right, let's do it. I'm the Billy Mays of electrical. There you go. All right, so let's do this. Spin, hashtag win. Let's get in on it. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate it. Most welcome, my friend. All right, Mike, let's see what you get here. If you're watching me over on Instagram, you got to join us on the live stream. Right, Mike. You're registered for the grounding and bonding course. That is a $299 value. We will be doing that drawing on about March 31st. So if you win, you will see your name in the list. We will do an episode. It'll play multiple times in the day so that you can see if your name is on the list. Don't worry about that. We'll make it very evident, and we will cross our T's, dot our I's to make sure we're the right people and that type of thing. Okay. And we only go by usernames here. So we lock all of the usernames. Every episode's recorded, so it's not like somebody else can try to claim it. We lock everything, and we track IPs that when you log in. So trust me, on our back end, we'll do our due diligence to make sure it's right. Don't worry. All right. So don't send me emails. When am I going to get it? If you win, you will see. All right. Let's redo this here. Let's do another one. Okay. And let's do it again. So congratulations, Mike. You're in on that drawing for grounding and bonding course, which is, by the way, one of our more popular courses because it doesn't expire. It fits in your pocket, and it answers all of those tough grounding and bonding questions. Grounding and bonding is grossly misunderstood. Grossly misunderstood. People think they know it. I watch TikTok and Instagram and all these social platforms and Facebook, and I see the stuff that people post, even in some of those electrical forums where some of the moderators post stuff and I cringe. I'm like, wow. The problem with that is you're in a position of authority-ish, and now you're propagating false information. It's kind of scary. But we have angry and people like that out there watching, so... And Angry will holler out at me when he sees anything. So I work very closely with Angry. It's a great guy. All right. Juan, let's see what you get, my friend. And I think it's the first time I've seen you win anything. So thanks for joining us. Maybe your first time here. Glad to have you. Knife. So you're in on the drawing for the knife. I don't have one here to show you, but they are the neatest little knives. They're sharp as all get out. They say electrician on them. Great for your keychain. Great for opening up boxes, from the supply house. Great to just have a nifty little knife. You can put it on your keychain. You can hang it in the truck. Use it whatever you want to do with it. You're in the drawing for that nifty little knife. Very limited number of those, but we're going to try to give all of those away. So if you're in the drawing for that, you'll have multiple opportunities if your name is in the hat. So hopefully, we give away. I want to clean the house and get rid of the knives so we can bring in a new type of a product to engrave and give away. Okay, so when the knives are gone, they're gone. Okay, all right. So good job. Congratulations on that one. Hopefully you win that. All right, let's do this again. Let's go. Elias. Edward, congratulations on getting a chance to spin the wheel. Let's see what you get, my friend. And again, thanks for joining us. Appreciate all of you. You have no idea. I get up and do this. This is something that I like to do to give back to the industry. When I used to do the Wednesday night sessions, that was something that was part of the board, had to approve. When I do these coffee hours in the morning, I get to do them. I don't worry about what they say or their opinions. So, okay, Edward Elias, what you have won is a instant 12-month access to Fast Tracks Tube and the video platform that I was just talking about. Again, all you do on that is just go over to the video platform, and of course it's not showing. You go over here on the video platform right here, and you go right here where it says membership plans. Click on it, come down here, choose free membership right there, okay? And set up your username and fill out the information, and you'll be good to go. Pick your username and you will be all ready. And then once you do that, we will monitor it and get you all hooked up. So Fast Tracks Tube, there you go. And you get 12 months of access to the video platform. And we have, again, I think I told somebody this weekend, another interactive video that's getting uploaded this weekend. So we're excited about that. More will roll out as the summer. But right now we're still in the mode where Jeff is still working on the tube. He's working on the hug a little bit. So he's preoccupied by that, but we will get it taken care of. All right. So congratulations, Edward, in winning that Fast Tracks Tube subscription. Okay. Let's do another one here. Whoops. Let's see who's going to get this spin. I didn't realize I could do both at the same time. So that saves a lot of time, doesn't it? New stuff every day. A double banger. It pays to be a first timer. Okay. And you're in on the knife drawing. Okay. Those are awesome knives. You heard me talk about it a few minutes ago. So you got two there. Here, let's do this again and see what else we can give. And I'm saving time now. Let's see who else. Let's go. Now, I'm going to think it's flawed if you get it again. Okay? And I'm going to hear it from everybody in the chat. They're going to be like, dude, that's rigged. I'm just saying. All right, conductor sizing card. Those are very neat cards. Also, I should mention that in a couple weeks, we have another series of cards coming out. Formula card, and I can't remember what exactly is on the other one, but we have a couple more of the cards coming out that we will be giving away, that type of thing. So a lot of good stuff coming out. I think those are set to come out after the March drawing, that type of thing. Okay, that way they'll be part of the new drawing that we're going to have for future. Always going to be giving stuff away constantly. Also looking at some stickers that are unique to Coffee Hour to be giving away. And so those we'll be looking to do as well, just to show your love for the show. If you're interested in the Coffee Hour stickers, those are in the works as well. So there you go. All right, Van Man, you're in the drawing for that conductor sizing card. Basically, it's conductor length card, that type of thing. Okay. All right. Let's do one more, and then we'll cut y'all loose for the day. Ready? Let's go. A lot of giveaways today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Hopefully you got something out of the show as well. Where we did, again, multifamily independent. Rob! All right, Rob. You might already have this on Fast Tracks Tube. So, Rob, I don't know if you're here. Would you like me to spin again? I'll give you the opportunity to do that. I know it's delayed because you're watching over there. Okay. Hey, Daniel. Thank you for joining, Daniel. Glad to have you here. Remember, the show can be whatever you want it to be. So if you have a topic you want me to discuss, a certain issue that you've argued around the water cooler, or whatever, you want me to dig into it, do me a favor. All you got to do is go to paulabernathy.com, and that's what we use to send in topics and questions and whatever into the show in order to get it discussed on the show. That type of thing. We love to, and that allows me to be able to do that type of thing. Okay. So again, thank you, Daniel. Glad to have you. Glad to have you joining our show. All right, Rob. I didn't see any comments about the Fast Tracks tube, so we're going to leave it at that, and we can always extend it. Oh, Rob says spin again. Okay, Rob, let's spin again. You already have it. Let's go. Rob says spin. He yelled at me. He just said, spin. Spin that damn wheel again. All right, Ohms wheel coin. Okay, you're in the drawing for the Ohms wheel coin. Your choice, master, journeyman, whatnot. So you're in that drawing for the Ohms wheel coin. All right, congratulations for that. Okay, folks. All right, guys, a lot of show. Hopefully I didn't miss anything in there. There's a lot going on. But anyway, what we did today is a recap. We explained how to do the optional method for a 6-unit apartment complex. We didn't go specifically over the neutral because we've already covered that in multiple episodes. Make sure you go back and watch that. But again, it's just as simple as going over a standard method calculation. That's it. And just taking the neutral loads. That is it. And I explained that in extreme detail. In fact, if you even watch yesterday's 12-unit, I went over the neutral in depth in that as well. Okay? So, that type of thing. Rob, you're driving. Oh, yeah, well, pay attention to the wheel. I get you. But the fact that you could tell us to spin while you're driving and you're still were able to put driving down, I know you're okay. I know you're safe. All right, folks. Thank you all for joining me on today's coffee hour. I hope you enjoy these morning shows. You get something out of it. We do take recommendations. I do take suggestions. I want to make it something that you want to get up in the morning and watch. I don't know of any other electrical show that runs Monday through Friday. If there's a segment or something you want us to add, again, I am open to always learning and adapting. So go to paulabernathy.com. You see where you can put in the comments. In fact, let's do that really quickly so that you can see what that is before I go. All right, I want to do that really quickly. We want to go to paulabernathy.com so we can see what that looks like so you folks can know what you have to do. So let me go real quickly over to paulabernathy.com. All right. So let's share this real quick. This is what it looks like, folks. So, it's pretty simple, right? It's pretty straightforward, sponsored by Wix. You just put your name, address, email in right here, and you just type your question out right here. Or you can even cut and paste it in here if you want. And then all you do is click submit. We can't make it any easier. And if you like what you see or you've submitted something in the past and I've answered a question for you, you want to share a little love, we do have a donate button down here. You can share a little love right here as a thank you. That's up to you. We appreciate it. And if you want to listen to all of the Let's Ask Paul podcasts directly from here, all you got to do is click right here where it says listen now. And if you click on that, then you can come over here, and this is a way to get to all of the episodes. And you can listen directly from the website if you want to. Right here, just click on the player. And here you get to see, if you see a little exclamation point right here, if you click it, it'll give you a brief explanation of what's on that episode. Okay, so this is cool as well. And you can simply click whichever one you want. You want to get back to asking me the question, you just click this right there, and that'll bring you back here, and you can ask your question. I think it's the easiest portal out there for you to be able to ask questions to me, and they may be in a future episode of... It's easier to do this than it is to email me because it gets lost, right? So check it out, paulabernathy.com. We'd love to have your questions, your topics, your ideas. That is where you send me whatever you want. Share a little love, and you can donate there as well if you incline to give us a little thank you for what we do. We always appreciate it. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Or if you want to buy some of our goodies, buy our goodies over on fasttracksystem.com. I know I'm going to pander. I'm pandering. All right, folks, I appreciate you. Till next time, stay safe. God bless. And we'll catch you on an upcoming episode of Coffee Hour with me, Paul Abernathy. Peace out.